Number one overreaction. All right, let's go with this one now. Here's the number one overreaction so far in Dolphins camp. And I pointed this isn't hindsight. I pointed this out a couple weeks ago. I even asked Furonis this. And I'll ask you again, Sean. At any point, does Zach Sieler say he was unhappy? At any point, did he demand a contract extension?
No.
At any point, was he going to hold out or was he threatening or anything?
No.
No. So none of the stuff you saw with other players happened with Zach Sieler. But yet, remember how I even wrote it down, right? Remember the headlines? Zach Sieler deserves a raise and his peers are watching. Will Dolphins negotiate with Zach Sieler in good faith? The team that we constantly make fun of because all they do is give out money to people. Zach Sieler went to the podium today. And, of course, the media dying to have a story, dying to stir it up. Even though the agent hasn't said anything publicly, Zach Sieler hasn't said anything publicly, he signed this contract. He's under contract. And by the way, did we not set the reality of the scenario here? They have no money, but there's a chance later on in the season to open up for space because they don't want to do it with Tua right now, which is smart. You can't guarantee any more of Tua's money. You have to wait till Tua shows you for a couple of years that he's not going to play stupid anymore. Then you can gamble a little bit more on him. But for now, you can't because he can talk a good game about all that, but he has to show it to us on a consistent. Not even for a year. A year is not good enough because he did it for a year. But he went back to being stupid Tua from Alabama, and then now stupid Tua that wants to throw his body around all over the place. Okay, so you got to wait and see. But they go out there, they try to create the whole thing with Sieler. And let's play the soundbite. Zach Sieler asked today about his situation and his contract. Okay? And first of all, he talks about feeling respected with the team. Okay? Go ahead, Sean. Play that.
We have more than we ever imagined. I'm beyond blessed from these last 7 years alone. My wife and I love how our life has turned out, and it's just been awesome. Now I do feel like I do feel that respect coming, and I think I've earned it. I know I've earned it. And I think something we always joke about, my wife and I, is I played at D2. Christian likes to tell me that all the time. He still does. He told me that before we started camp. I was cut twice, all that stuff. I know I have the best years ahead of me. I didn't play for 3 years in the NFL. I only played 2.5 in college. So you really think about it, like I got less years under my belt than some rookies do. So I really feel like my best years are ahead of me, and I have all that knowledge and experience in the last 7 years. So I'm really excited to see what this next few years have in store.
He feels fine. He feels respected. He's in good place. I told you guys, there's no space now, right? But I don't think this is a team that's going to be challenging for a playoff spot anyway. So later on in the season, when you're approaching the trading deadline, Chubb's playing well, Tyreek's playing well. Those are players that you're going to trade. You're not keeping Chubb long-term. You're keeping Phillips and Chop long-term. Chubb will end next year probably in the offseason. So trade him now if he's playing well and try to get a pick for him, and they get a pass rusher. And Tyreek, if he's playing well and out of trouble, which is really hard to ask for, then by the trading deadline, you'll be able to move Tyreek for another pick, which is what they've been doing, stockpiling. That's it. So Zach Sieler asked about where his contract stands. Go ahead, Sean.
I mean, so God's blessed me with amazing seasons here in Miami. I'm so fortunate to have the time I've had here and continue to have here. Obviously, all that stuff is between me and the team. What I really care about is getting out there on the field with the guys and building that camaraderie and leadership with them. Getting to play next to KG, JP again, Chubb, Chop, all those guys. It's so good to be out there with those guys. I mean, summer's great and all, but after a while you kind of start going crazy. And it's so nice to get here, get into routine again, and really start to build that camaraderie with the guys again. So it's been a blessing.
Zach, if I could just kind of briefly follow there. Obviously, guys have their own decision making when they handle their business. We saw how John Newman's situation happened earlier with him sitting down and being why did you make the route you made?
So I'm not going to talk anyone else's decision. I think everyone's decision is their own path, their own journey. I have my path, my journey, and I think that, prayed about it a bunch, talked to my wife, talked to my family, and end of the day, I'm going to be me. What got me to this point, what's got me here so far, and that's what I'm going to do every day. So that's how I take this approach.
Thank you, sir. You're the best. He knows he'll get his money. Dolphins will pay him. I'm not even concerned about that. It's about taking the level-headed approach, about looking at everything the right way. They don't have the money yet. They'll have the money down the line. If not in the offseason, they'll take care of him and they'll give him a nice, handsome contract, and he'll be taken care of. What was the theme in the offseason leading into the draft? What did I tell you they needed to do? Get players that can translate to any coaching staff, right?
Yes.
Defensive tackle, guards.
Does
Does Jonnu Smith translate to the next offensive coordinator? We don't know. And he'll be 31. So they didn't want to commit. But Zach Sieler translates to any defensive coordinator. And by the way, your defensive coordinator will be your head coach. Sabanaya translates. Grant translates. It's what they're doing. Pay attention to what they're doing. Don't even pay attention to what they're saying, because what they say is one thing and what they do is something else. But there's Zach Sieler. And as much as the media tried to stir it up, it wasn't the player having a problem with the coach like the cornerback was having. It wasn't a problem that the tight end came out because he had a bad contract his agent negotiated, and all of a sudden he outplayed that contract at 30 years old, and he goes, I can't play on this team that probably is not going to compete for a champ, for sure not a championship, not even a playoff spot, and I'm going to ruin this year, and he had to get out. Zach Sieler is going to be here for a long time. And they know it, and Zach Sieler knows it, and I'm sure Drew knows it at this point. And that's why there's nothing going on, and there is nothing going on. Why raise hell when you can't do anything about it? They don't have the money. What are you going to do, hold out and create a problem? No, dude, he's a team guy. He's a leader. He's going to play. He's going to show by example, and they'll pay him like they do. When they don't pay somebody, it's because they made the decision that they don't want the player. It's never because they were cheap. The Wilkins decision was a professional decision. He wasn't worth the money, and I completely agreed with that. Did I agree with Van Ginkel? Hell no, dude. I mean, nobody was a bigger Van Ginkel guy than I was since he was drafted. I'm the one that was sitting here. Remember we used to argue with Omar Kelly and Omar? Oh, I don't see it. I used to tell him, what the hell are you talking about? I would go back and forth with Omar, and obviously I was right about Van Ginkel, and he was dead ass wrong about Van Ginkel. So, it's relax. Let's not create the hassle that or a problem that isn't there. They'll pay the guy, dude. They'll take care of him. It's not a big deal. Whether they make good decisions or bad decisions, that's a whole other conversation. But it's never about being cheap or, will they negotiate in good faith? Well, it's funny how you criticize a guy for giving a bad contract, and then we're criticizing a team for giving a good contract because they have the Sieler contract has been a steal. One of the best steals in the NFL. The Jonnu Smith deal last year was a steal. The Calais Campbell contract was a steal. It's never balanced out, but that's kind of the way it goes. But kudos to Zach Sieler. And I'm glad that it's now come to light, and now the entire media can stop with their the sensationalism of this whole thing, that there was never any kind of animosity. There was never going to be a holdout. Oh, will he practice? Oh, will they be fair with him, and all that bullshit. It's all over.